Good morning. We are here this morning with Amy Parker, and we're going to be talking about how to cozy up your living room on a budget. Is that right, Amy?
That's right. Thanks for having me, Casey.
Thanks for coming.
So we're going to talk a little bit about how people can cozy up their living room spaces, because that can sometimes be an area that, we move into a house and we set our furniture up and just start living, right?
Right, exactly.
Then we start thinking about how could we make it more functional, maybe, or the most feedback I get from homeowners when they call me for help is because they want their house and their living room especially to feel more cozy than what it does. So we talk about all kinds of different things, and I'm going to cover a few things today that would be budget conscious for people who just, you may not have a ton of money to spend on things right now, but there's a lot you can do without spending any money at all. And we'll talk a little bit about that, which is good. So the first thing that I'll talk to my clients about is, how is the room currently used, and how do you want to use the room? So functionality is big. How do we lay it out to make sure that it makes sense for your family and how you're living in it day to day, right? One of the other things that we look at is, within that functionality, how many seats do we really need? So day to day, how many do you need? But then if you have a family gathering or your friends come over, how many seats do you really need in your living room? And if you need more, then how do we bring them in with maybe smaller chairs, maybe ottomans or storage benches that can do twofold for you? So store things, but also be able to sit on it if you have extra company in the house. So once we figure that out, we determine what to do next. So it's a lot of furniture placement, and sometimes it's about shifting things around so we can focus on the television, which is usually the key, right? Or it's maybe a focal point like a view or a fireplace or something like that, where we want to have it a little more cozy and have the focus be on those items versus moving, being shifted away from that. So that's kind of step one. Where do you want to go with it? And sometimes it's about paring things down, because it may be a small room with really big furniture, so it can feel overwhelming. And when the furniture kind of eats up the room, we want to take some of it out. So we'll usually talk about things that you can take out and shift around. So what I would say is, for those people who are running into that issue, shop around the rest of your house and see if there are furniture pieces that you can bring in and move around, because we do that a lot too. Move from one room to another. So once we get to the place where they know what furniture pieces they want to bring in, we'll lay it out. And that's kind of step number one. Where's everything going to be arranged? And if there's going to be new furniture coming in, what those pieces are, what the sizes are, and all of that. But then we look at it as a layered approach after that. So once they've got the layout set, then they can think about all of the changes they can make that are low budget but high impact things. So the first thing we'll talk about is paint, which can change a room in an afternoon, right? We really like to do, updates of rooms that might feel dark with a lighter color and things like that. Going from bright colors to a more muted tone can help a room feel really soft and comfortable. And it's dramatic either way. Even if we're taking it from a really bright room to a soft color, it's dramatic for the homeowner, which is really, really good. Most times people will use a satin finish or a matte finish, and that's what I recommend in living rooms, because it's durable and you can wash it. So if you've got kids and pets in the room, that's good. And we talked about this on the last podcast, but I think it's worth repeating that if people know the color paint that they want to order, ahead of time and are working with local paint companies like Sherwin-Williams or Benjamin Moore, they can call ahead and order those items and just pick them up, like go right into the store, pick it up and leave. And the paint can be mixed while you're on your way there. So you're not standing in a storefront for 10 or 15
I
minutes.
love that they have that ability. And I mean, I had no idea until you told me.
Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful, and it really reduces the time people have to be out in storefronts, especially right now. People are still, I know things are getting a little more lenient, but for those people who may be very concerned about their health, then that's a nice option. So I did include Sherwin-Williams and Benjamin Moore links for you to share with the listeners, because then people can pull up and figure out where is their local storefront so they can go check it out. Most in New Hampshire anyway, a lot of the Aubuchon hardware stores carry Benjamin Moore. So usually those are like the little small town places, and it's quick to get there. And if you need another gallon of paint for some reason, you can go get it fast.
That's true. Easy to get to, easy to pop in and out, local. So.
Exactly. So the other paint finish that I wanted to mention was just on your trim. If people are painting their trim, to use a semi-gloss for that, which will be nice and protective. It gives a little bit of a shine and a difference between the wall color and sheen. So it makes it look pulled together by the time you're done. Any built-in bookcases, items like that, just treat it as if it's trim. If you're painting it, use that semi-gloss, which is good.
Now, if this is just kind of a random question. So when you're tying in, say, you know, built-in bookcases or something to your trim, are you painting the entire bookcase the same as the trim, or, you know, the back side of the bookcase and the shelves? Do you follow that with your walls, or how does that kind of tie in? Does it matter really?
Well, I would say anything that is wood, I would paint with like it's trim, right? So when you ask about the back part of a bookcase, though, that's where people get really creative. So you can either make it white. If you're, let's say you're using, for example, a white trim paint, you can do white in the back and keep it all consistent. Some people really love that classic look.
Yeah.
Where others like to have a different color in the bookcases, and it can either match the rest of the wall color, or you can add a little drama and make it a different color.
Okay, cool. Good idea.
Yeah, so there's all different ways that you can do it. And sometimes people will do that based on maybe the decor that they have. Let's say they have like white bookcases and a lot of white pottery that they want to display. They might do a darker color on that back wall to help their pieces stand out, right?
That's cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so there's different ways that you can do it, and you can be creative. It's not rocket science. Some people will also use wallpaper on those back walls, or even contact paper. You know, I've seen that too, where you can just add a whole different layer on the back part of those bookcases. If it's a sheetrock wall, sometimes if it's wood, you may have issues with things sticking. True. If you were thinking wallpaper. So I would just, you know, talk to the people at the paint store, because they're usually good about, you know, a place like Sherwin-Williams also carries wallpaper, and they can give people really good tips and ideas on how to address whatever the wall is, whether it's wood or sheetrock.
And I love how you use the term layering when you talk about redecorating your living room, because you can do a living room in phases. It doesn't all need to be done at once. And all of the tips you're going to talk about today are things that can be done in piecemeal over time, or, you know, to pull a room together. So that's kind
absolutely. I mean, and most of the time when I'm working with clients, it's about giving them a plan that they can work through as their time and budget allow, right? So not everybody has like a huge lump sum of money to change everything. But if they have a plan going forward, they know like, oh, okay, so now we have this extra, you know, $100 to $200. This is what we can do this time with this. So that's a great way to do it. And then, you know, you kind of check off your list, like, yay, we have that step done.
Yeah, seriously.
Then we can move forward, you know? So all of these things will help. Like we'll do the big things first. That's why I mentioned the paint first, because that's a big impact item, and the furniture arrangement. And then like the rest of it becomes kind of the icing on the cake, if
Yeah.
you will. So one of the things that I find is a really quick change is to add an area rug to
Okay.
your living room. And oftentimes people have wood floors, so they like to have an area rug for a variety of reasons, but namely for the echoey sound. Like if you've got high ceilings or maybe just an open layout, it can
Mhm.
be so, well, when you're showing houses, you must hear that all the time. When you go into vacant houses, it's like you hear every little noise.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I know, and just for our listeners or our viewers, you came and you helped me with this issue in my home. You helped me lay out a plan to redo my living room because I was just like, I don't know what to do. And, you laid
Right.
it out just like you're laying it out today. These are the things you can do over time. And an area
Yes.
rug was definitely one of them.
Well, and it really does help to soften things, right? So beyond a noise thing, it's
Mhm.
about um, adding a layer of texture to a room, because that's what this is about, right? We're adding different layers of color, texture, feel. And for some people, that's a big deal through pillows and blankets. And we'll talk about that at the end. But the area rugs can be one of those great items. And they have a new product out, and well, I'll have to add this to the resource list. It's called Ruggables. Have you seen those yet?
No.
Okay, so it's like a rug that comes with, it's almost attached to the bottom or the base of it with a Velcro
Okay.
product, and you can peel the rug off and run it through the washer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's
So
so convenient.
it's, it is like the best thing ever. And it's great for homes with pets
Hmm.
and with kids that are in areas that potentially maybe the kids are snacking and they spill, like things happen
Yeah.
when you're living your life. It is a reality. So these products are so great because you can just rip it up, throw it in the laundry, and put it right back down. I mean,
That's
it's wonderful.
perfect.
Yeah. So look into that for those people who are trying to find the right thing and they don't want to spend a small fortune on an area rug that they feel will just get kind of beat up over time. They've got a good record so far in terms of their wearability.
Mhm.
They've got some really cool colors, like there's lots of options and sizes. So definitely check into those
Mhm.
as for a home that's really busy.
Makes sense. You'll
For
definitely have to give us that link and we'll post it with the notes.
absolutely, I'm glad that just came to mind. So I'll make a note of that. But so one of the other things that I'd recommend, and I don't know that you can do it with ruggables, but with any other rug. So let's say you go into or you're checking online at Home Depot
Mhm.
or Lowe's because they carry a lot of area rugs.
Yep.
My recommendation is for people to, if they're trying to decide between a couple different colors and they're having a hard time judging what it really looks like from
Mhm.
online to real life,
Right.
they can order the smallest one possible. So typically those rugs come in, a little mat that you can
Mhm.
put in front of your door.
Okay.
I would order a couple of those in the different styles that you like,
Mhm.
bring those into the house and see how they look with the wall colors, with, everything else that's already there without spending a lot of money on those big area rugs.
Mhm.
Because if it doesn't work, it's a big ordeal to get it returned. And it's an even bigger deal if you find the rug of your dreams on a website like Wayfair. If once you order it, it is so difficult to get it back and it's expensive to return it.
Okay.
So trying to reduce costs in that way, you can tell, you get a general sense of what they call the dye lot. So what the fibers are going to actually look like in person. So I would recommend doing it that way. It's a lot easier to return a little area rug than it is like a big 8 by 10 or something or bigger. So just keeping that in mind for people, that's really, really helpful to do it that way before you get the large scale area rugs. But you can also determine the size of your rug based on the size of your room. And those are things that if people have questions about that, they can reach out to me anytime, because it really depends on what furniture you're putting in and how big you want that rug.
Okay. That
So
makes sense.
yeah, it's tough to tell. You can do some searching online too. People can get a general sense for what it looks like in a room, and Pinterest offers a lot as well. But if they want ideas from me, they can certainly reach out anytime.
Okay.
So yeah, so then it would be, the paint, then the area rugs, and then any kind of updates on your furniture. And so some people are like, okay, we can get the rug right now, and we know eventually we want new furniture, but we can't do it right now, which is fine. Oftentimes, I'll recommend slip covers to
Oh
people
yeah.
because they have such a wide variety now. And this I'll have to send to you too, Casey, is a company called SureFit. I think it's either .org or .com, but I'll confirm it and get it to you. But they offer a whole variety of slip covers. So if you have sofa chairs that have maybe the little apron around the bottom of it, then they have a special one for that. Or if you have a more streamlined furniture and you want to cover it up, they have some that's more of an elastic type fabric, so it'll be tight up against it and the cushions. So it can look pretty tailored if you want. It just depends on the look you're going for, but a lot of them offer, like if you have 2 or 3 cushions on the sofa, you can get different slip covers for each piece. So it looks like you've had it professionally tailored.
Oh,
Which is,
nice. Now,
yeah,
and I think I've seen some slip covers that are actually like waterproof, or like, you know what I mean? Easy to throw in the wash or something too. Because I know like with my dogs and dog hair, I'm like constantly either needing to vacuum or whatever. So that's convenient too.
absolutely. And even if you have newer furniture that you are trying to protect, that's a great way to do it. And you're right. Like the new fabrics that they keep coming out with, whether it's to protect it from sun damage, from just pet hair, sometimes it's just easier to wash that stuff off, So yeah, people can look for whatever their specific needs are. They have a lot of options out there. So SureFit is a great option, and Wayfair.com offers a lot. And obviously Amazon, they carry a lot of different items. So that's good. But yeah, I mean, like I said earlier too, people can also search for little tables and extra seating, maybe in other rooms to bring in. Or if you're taking it out, sometimes it's nice to have a chair in the master and we don't. So maybe you've got an extra chair in the living room and you can make some shifts. So do that. Nothing has to be permanent, right? So what I usually will tell people is you can make the change and live with it for a week and see what you think. If it's just not feeling right, because change is hard for people even when they do it themselves. So it's good to say, okay, this is a good way to just shop with what you already have instead of having to go out and spend money. And a lot of people do have those resources. Some people get hand-me-downs from family, and that works well too, right? So
Yep.
I've even heard of people swapping things in their homes, like friends and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know how you do like a clothes swap? Some people will do, like decor and stuff, which is great. So anyway, those are a couple great quick ways to do changes with furniture in your home. If someone is ready to get new furniture, I would say they can determine how many seats they need, think about what they want to pull in, and then talk with someone at a local furniture store, because they're really good about helping people to understand what they need. And spatially, if they needed help, they would want to probably contact, a designer or someone to come and help them determine what size they would actually need. If you've got a nice big room, you can, with cathedral ceilings or vaulted ceilings, you can do like nice big thick pieces. If you've got a smaller space, you may want to look for more streamlined. You can still get a lot of comfort. They just won't be quite as big and pillowy, if you will. So there's just a lot of options out there. I mean, I get lost in furniture stores. So.
I know, right? It's like a rabbit hole. You could easily just spend so much time looking at furniture.
It's so much fun, there's a million different fabrics. And
Yeah.
so there's something for everyone there. But what I did want to let people know that they may not know is if you do order from a furniture company or a local furniture store, it's usually anywhere from a 6 to 8 week turnaround time. So
Okay.
let's say you're like, oh, I want to have everything done by Thanksgiving this year or something. Be mindful that you'll want to, give yourself at least, 10 weeks, I would say, so that you can do shopping and really look around and get a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then know that your order will take probably that amount of time to come in.
Okay.
So that's not unusual. Some places, and it depends on the company as well. Some of the more specific companies, it'll be 8 to 10 weeks, but the people in the furniture stores can help with all of that. They'll let you know ahead of time and give you options if people don't want to wait that long.
Oh, that's nice.
We all like to have our immediate response to things, right?
I know, right? You probably pay for it, but you can get it sooner.
Yes, of course. And do check with those, the local companies have great deals on, sometimes they do free deliveries and they'll help you with pickup. And so they offer a lot of services. So people can ask questions when they go in, which is great.
Nice.
Okay, so the next layer after the furniture, after you fluff up all that stuff, is adding in some decor and artwork. Okay. So one of the key, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe the size, not a requirement, but a suggestion would be a lot of people will have their artwork in a living room over the sofa.
Okay.
Or maybe they have a table up against the wall and they want to put some artwork above that, So what I recommend is that people plan to have two, or even the mantle. That's the other one. You'll want to have your artwork equal to the 2/3 of the width of the item that we're talking about. So whether that's the mantle, the sofa, or a table.
Okay.
And the height of it will be determined by the height of the ceiling. Right.
Oh,
so
okay.
In terms of keeping things at a good scale, if it's high ceilings, then you'd obviously want it to be a little bit taller to fit in the space. And that can be one giant piece. Some people have these big, beautiful pieces, or it can be a combination. So some people have 2 or 3 matching pieces that they'll put in a row to create that 2/3 width. Or, what I often see is a family photo wall.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's a good way to gauge, what is my 2/3 mark? And you can kind of play it out on the wall, lay out the pictures on the floor to see how it would look and rearrange, and then start placing them on the wall after that, which is just a lot easier. And then, before you're putting holes in anything.
Yeah. That's a key component. I know if I put 1,000,000 holes in my wall, my parents would be like, oh my gosh, what did you do?
Now you've got to fill all that.
Think this through. I'm like, you're right.
Well, and it's about kind of doing all the measurement if you can ahead of time, or laying it out so you've got a sense for what it's going to look like on the wall.
Yeah.
And that's really helpful. Most people are very visual. So if you can see it laid out, and you'll be able to tell if it looks off, and you can do your switching around and that kind of stuff. So that's one big recommendation. And I think that's helpful so that there aren't either teeny tiny pieces in big rooms or really big pieces that kind of swallow up a small room. So it's just trying to find that happy medium. Most people right now are a little obsessed with Marie Kondo and cleaning things out of their house.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, I keep seeing it's either on Facebook Marketplace, consignment stores, and Goodwill are getting overrun with options for people, right? So once we can get into stores, because I know some of those places we're not able to access. I know Facebook Marketplace we can. But when those stores are open back up and we can check it out, that's the way to go, is check and see there first if you can find something, because it could be something very new, but someone was just paring down. So it's actually a good time to do a little, shopping like that. And as people have been home, they're cleaning out. So I can see a huge resurgence of stuff going into those locations as well.
Yeah, so they're starting their own home renovation projects, and you can reap the benefits.
Indeed. I mean, keep an eye out for those yard sales, because I, for one, I have staging inventory. I'm going to do a huge yard sale, and I've been pulling stuff, since all of this started, because I'm like, this is the perfect time.
Yeah. Let me know when you do your yard sale, because
I
that's when I
totally
want to go
will.
to.
Yeah, right.
I bet you've got good stuff.
That's the stuff. It's gently used. It's never been in a house. It was occupied. It's the way to go.
Yeah, it's perfect. Like new.
Exactly. It is. And so it's going to be one of those things where then I'll be able to renew my inventory, which makes a difference. So, and people feel like that in their homes too, if they can kind of take out the old and bring in a new feel and a new style, because we all change and evolve in our lives. And I think that goes along with our style, even in our homes.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I've changed a lot over, even 10 years time of what I loved back when the kids were little to now, like, the kids are off at school and we can do things a little differently. So yeah, we all look at our homes a little different. But so some of the other places too that people can look for decor on a budget, and this again goes back to when stores open up and we can move a little more freely. Places like the Christmas tree shop, they've got some there. You kind of have to pick through it, but there are some things you can really create a Pottery Barn look in there on a massive budget, which is nice.
Yeah.
Home Goods and Home Sense is another. I mean, anyone who's in the business or just loves decor, we're all like daily crying about how we can't get to Home Goods.
That will be your first stop when everything reopens.
I don't know how they're going to control the numbers in those stores. That's all I have to say, because we're all going to be like lining up the parking lot here.
It'll be like Black Friday shopping, except
I have a feeling it will feel that way, like we're all just anxious to get there. But so that'll kind of go into my next section here, because you can get decor in those storefronts. Okay. You can also order from like Target, Walmart. They have some nice decor items in both of those places too. And right now you can order them online and just pick them up at the storefront if you don't want to have to walk through the store.
Right.
And that's nice. I mean, our local store, you and I in Concord, is kind of going through a renovation too, which is, so it's nice to just kind of run in, grab what I needed, and
I have no idea where anything is anymore.
Exactly. That's going to be another one of those places we're all going to take, another 3 or 4 months to figure out where everything landed. Which is cool. That usually means they're bringing in new products and new lines, and so that's all. It's good, but it just, they're trying to get through their process. What a time for that to be happening for them.
Yeah, true.
But you can also get throws and the pillows and window treatments. So that's kind of our last, like, put the final layer on everything, because that's our last bit of softening and comfort. And the pillows and the blankets that they're offering, it seems like they're getting softer and softer and softer.
Yeah, so true.
Which I am like dreamy over. Like, give me chenille all day long. And velvet, you're seeing there, the velvet has definitely come back into style and different colors. And so, like I said, you can do the ordering and pick up at the department stores. There's all those online options as well, from Wayfair, hayneedle.com. We talked about that before. And some of those other links I've added. So if you want to include that with your information.
Okay, perfect.
The last thing that I wanted to note is check in with our local shops, though, because I find we had a storefront open up here in Alton that has a lot of different vendors in it, and they quickly jumped online with a storefront, and we can order from them now all the time and do curbside pickup for them, which is something I would never have expected.
That's awesome.
Which is
really forced some businesses to explore other options, and it might actually work out well in the long run for them, So.
Yeah, I think they've found ways to even ship for people, because now they've got a bigger audience online. So, they may have people that come up and vacation up in the Lakes region, but they're not here yet, but they can be ordering some things. They've got a lot of lake themed items.
Okay.
So if there are local storefronts to you, wherever you are,
Mhm.
you may be able to order from them. So even just giving them a call to say, hey, I'm looking for this, they may be able to work something out. Not all of them will be able to, and I don't want to make promises for that, but
Right.
trying to keep our local shops going
Uh-huh.
is a good thing. So if we can try to find ways to support them, that's always good too.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, and they usually have things that are, regionally based or, something like that. So you can kind of add a little flavor into your home with signs and things like that, that everybody loves that kind of stuff to personalize their home.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, one of the other things too that has become very popular are like weighted blankets, and you'll see those. You can get those online too, and
Okay.
those are just super cozy. It's tough though this time of year as it gets warmer. They might be a little too hot,
Yeah. A little too heavy.
but the winter time it's like laying down with a little hug or something,
Oh, I know.
So
Right? They're perfect.
yeah, so that would be perfect too to add into, um, you know, and those are things that like pillows and blankets and things and window treatments even.
Mhm.
Those things you can switch out pretty easily, and you can even do it by season. Some people do it that way. They'll
Okay.
put up shears in the summer, spring and summer, and
Uh-huh.
then they like to have something that has a little more weight to it just to feel more cozy in the winter time. So those are options too. Yeah. um, but yeah, I think that that's a really great layered approach. If
Mhm.
people have any questions, they're more than welcome to reach out to me anytime.
Yeah.
But this is a great place to start, and it helps people to realize you don't have to spend a ton of money. And I always say shop within the house first, because you just might find that special thing you were looking for and you didn't even know it was there.
Right, right. Something that you can just kind of repurpose and
Yes.
reuse. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah,
And that's
repurposing is
cheap.
a exactly, right? Like get creative with it and don't be afraid to try new things, It's like,
Yeah,
and if it doesn't work, if you don't like it after a week, then change it. It doesn't have to stay permanent forever. So,
that's true.
it's tough. People tend to get like, "Oh, if it I don't know if it looked right or if I did it right." And
Uh-huh.
you'll know if you feel good and it makes sure you feel good and your family feel good, then it's exactly what you needed to do.
That's
No
awesome.
judgment.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. As long as you enjoy it,
That's
your
right.
house.
Absolutely. Make it cozy, make it your own, and that's good. That's a good
Awesome.
thing. Yeah.
Well, thank you again so much for spending another week with us. And, as we go room to room through our house and renovate and providing those tips and, those resources there, it's perfect. This is the perfect time to, get this information to people and kind of help them, tackle projects in their home. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And they can do it. I think a lot of people have been on a roll making
mhm.
changes. I hear that from a lot of friends and family. So,
Yeah.
if people were hesitating for any reason, they should just jump in and try it out and see what they think.
Yeah,
They've
and
got
like
some
you said,
tips.
with the layering in the living room, there's easy ways to start without getting overwhelmed. You can
That's right.
start small and go big or vice versa. So
Yes, absolutely.
that's
So, thanks
awesome.
so much for having me, Casey. It's always a joy to talk to you.
You as well. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.